Hey, I'm Laurie Dobson, and this is February 2nd, 2021. Today, I am experiencing the remorse of the euphoria that comes when I just want to believe the easy thing and run with it, and then everything makes sense, and life seems understandable, and I'm relieved, and I don't have that cognitive dissonance where I keep feeling that nothing's adding up. Nothing's making sense. I've had that experience for quite a while now with the whole COVID thing. Things seemed fishy from the beginning, and as we all know, there's way too much evidence here that that's all serving other purposes that we don't entirely understand, whether it suits people to introduce an idea for a different renegotiation of our economy and a power takeover by this World Economic Forum with the Great Reset and Prince Charles and John Kerry and even Biden with his Build Back Better, and everyone talking about the Green New Deal, which sounds great on its face until you listen to things like Michael Moore's video, which shows that it could be a very bad thing. And I'm, so the minute I get some clarity and I'm just overjoyed, and I did a video yesterday about how wonderful the subreddit group Wall Street Bets, how wonderful it is that they've experienced a sort of a turning of the paradigm, this switching the power structure, flipping it so that the little guy, the David gets his own against the Goliath, and then it all seems as though it just sort of happened organically. It just bubbled up. And yet what I heard very quickly on the heels of this is this other group called there's another app, something to the effect of Don't Lose or something, or Play to Win. I don't know, remember the exact name, but it's out there, and there'll be other sort of pushbacks too. And then this is all about someone from who has ties to other things, wants to make it more fair for the elites, and by trying to draw questions about the guy that began this thing. His name, I think his nickname on Reddit was Roaring Kitty or Roaring Kitten. Sorry, I don't have all the details, but you'll hear them. But it turned out that they were looking into him and seeing that he has actually a lot of chops. He works for Mass Mutual, and he's had some abilities here. So it's not like he's as much of a newbie amateur type. He actually might have broken some laws in trying to get people to do this event that happened. And the bizarre thing is, he hasn't been charged with anything too much. Nobody's really coming after him. I don't know if it's about to happen or what, but what did happen right off the bat that you have to pay attention to is the fact that AOC, Donald Trump Jr., and Ted Cruz, they're all jumping on this thing and saying it's the greatest thing, and the Wall Street people should get theirs. Well, if AOC was so concerned about Wall Street getting theirs, why did she just fall behind the CARES Act? Why is she... she wants to go after and draw blood from those who were involved in the so-called coup at the Capitol. And it's entirely conceivable in my mind, thinking this out, and sort of it's implausible, but look at Ted Cruz, who wants to, has a part to play, has a political future, and he doesn't want to get taken out too far, like where AOC would have them go, and flexing her muscle, being told to say some derogatory things. Might easily have been told that, and told that it's okay. You can make your point that they should be, to take them down a notch, so that there's some fear that there might be some pushback against those people in Congress that helped or had anything to do with anything at the Capitol insurrection. and that's a horrible thing to toy with, because you don't know once you get started and you try to cast aspersions, unintended consequences. You might get people mad enough to rally behind you. And that's why nobody wanted Trump to do it from the very beginning, when he started calling people out of his crowd that were leaving and saying that guy there, and pointing to him, or the handicapped guy. When you start getting people upset against other people just to toy with them, just for your own power, your personal power, that is a level of abuse of the American people, I believe. No matter where you draw it out, no matter how you divide people, when you're dividing them up, setting them at each other, winding them up, it's just, so what? So you can play with the people and people's lives. I don't know that that's necessarily what AOC would be doing, but she would, I think, definitely be doing what her masters tell her at this point. And, she was there to help Bernie, but when he didn't make it, you don't see her working on the same issues that she said she supported. She did not speak up during the CARES Act, when so much of our wealth was given to all of these wealth given to the wealthy, elites getting more, and making the divide worse, making people's situations more desperate. And she didn't speak up about that at the time. The thing she speaks up about is attacking Republicans. And I think, it's my opinion, that she was told to do it by these, the ruling class elites. And now she's being told to make up with the elements in the party and the Republican side. So they have a difference. If they're all one party, if they eliminate the Republican Party, and they're if they're that's what they're really out for, which I doubt it, then you don't have the comparison to yourself to make yourself more virtuous, or you don't have to play good cop, bad cop, constantly flipping it. They need each other. They're two sides of the same coin, is my point. Democrats and Republicans, because the things that they do are more focused on preservation of their own power, and the people be damned. And so then they want to try to look like they're helping this little guy. So what do? I think you do controlled opposition. You try to do these little operations that seem to help people for a while, give them a certain amount of false hope, toy with them, play with them, make them feel powerful, so people can go off like me yesterday on my video. I didn't post it because I realized it's just too simplistic to believe that it really happened. It just happened. And that it won't be smashed. And the reason I say that is that I have my doubts, having been part of Occupy Wall Street and really looking into things there. I had an opportunity to spend 2 weeks at the press booth and doing other projects there, looking into things, walking around, seeing where the money was coming in, where the supplies were coming in, the support. It was huge. And then I noticed some people that were hanging out there, and I have some, I probably could dig up some names, but I mean, they were people that were at Occupy Wall Street, kind of seeming to be happy with the way it was going. They seemed like foundation people, everything was going according to plan for a while, and then it got shut down. And what is the point of that? Is it just to deflate people's hopes that they can never get it together? Because that was the outcome, was that, darn it, we didn't get it together in time. We had this open process that took forever, and we never found out what we actually got behind and supported, so we could put it out there specifically, except for income inequality, which should be enough. It should be enough to specify 99%, 1%, the billionaire class, offenses around that to the people, to not protecting the common good, the commonwealth, the general welfare of all people, which is what government is supposed to, as leadership, should be doing. And that, so when I saw these people at Occupy, I thought, okay, there's more here than meets the eye. And I started hearing about that it was being controlled in a certain way. And then you see the New York Magazine had, the kids are all right. It was kind of like, don't worry about them. They're fine. They're fine. What was happening everywhere was that people were going into their parks, getting supported and doing that. And I think that it couldn't really have happened if there wasn't an amount of planning ahead of time, if it hadn't been sort of set up to support it and have it happen. So I believe it was, in a way, a brilliant false flag event, to let off steam. I think Bernie is the same thing. I think he's He's there, the sheepdog people. Dennis Kucinich may have been as well. There's always one that they let in each party, Susan Collins on the right and whoever on the left, to seem to be there for us, even though the rest of them aren't. So it almost gives them the opportunity to be rogue because this guy can find fault with them. But in the end, of course, they'll fold back into the batter, the cake batter. May have a couple of chocolate chips in there. But in the end, they all come together to make your chocolate chip cookies. So then everybody's happy because we get love and happiness and reconciliation. Well, it's not a true reconciliation. The people haven't been taken care of. It's just that they've allowed us our timeouts, our timeouts where we go on go to recess, or where we blow off steam and then we're okay again. And I think this time it may escape them. Just like I think that the virus thing. It wasn't the virus that escaped. It was the opportunity. In my mind, the opportunity was so successful. It was succeeded so well when they said flatten the curve that people did actually stop everything more than they anticipated. The lockdown, they accepted it more because people are willing to sacrifice unbelievable things if they think they're doing the right thing for people. They'll give their lives up. They'll go to war. They'll do unthinkable things because they're devoted to their country and they want the right thing. So I do think, the whole appeal to grandma dying or whatever, keeping people at home, keeping people under house arrest, while they didn't notice what was going on, the actual genocide of the old people and the demolition of the young people by not having a life where they feel, what's the point, where they're depressed and sad, half of all people now. I mean, it's a mental health crisis. But it succeeded in getting them the the thing they wanted, which was more money, trillions more money, keeping people at home. Not only so you can get them a so-called vaccine and help Big Pharma. Big Pharma's happy. The banks are happy because what do? Well, when they shut things down, who's the essential services and who isn't? The essential services are the ones like big box stores, but not the mom and pops, not the people, not the ones who make a community, not the hairdressers or the folks that you see when you walk around a town and you get to talk to, not going to each other's houses, not they're trying to lock people out of each other's homes, and no large groups, no large meetings, no church. They tried that. The whole effort there, I think, again, this is conjecture day for me, but I think it succeeded so well that they just got their hopes up that they could keep it going. And while they keep it going, who's doing badly? The malls, the big box, they were also already having a hard time. So that they were shorted on the market. They were prime. They were exposed. They were vulnerable. So they're easy pickings for these hedge funds who wanted, like the vultures that they are, wanted dead carrion to feast on. And so that's what they did. They killed off, or they were trying to kill off GameStop. But maybe they thought that it would be too obvious. And so they had to throw a couple of things down to make it seem not obvious, that that's not really what they're doing. Because look, they got burned by it. Well, they got burned to a certain point, but these dark pools, they're called dark pools, and they're apparently, with GameStop, Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan were invested there. And while some people may have lost, Melvin and Citadel, who knows that they won't be reconstituted later, that it was all a deal. Make some of them go down like Lehman Brothers, but then bail out the others and continue to bail out the others. And then we have nothing to say because we saw it happen. We don't really understand it, but it's a done deal. We had our little moment to fight them, thinking we were powerful, but not really. And for good reasons, people vote against their own interests. I still don't know on the ERA thing if that outcome really served us or not. I still don't know what to think of the feminist movement. I just know it was scorched earth for so long that for forever I couldn't feel like I could talk about women's issues without being afraid to be called a a women's liber or a feminazi or some very unfair things to say about women who want to try to change things. And to be fair, when people start changing things, you get a little bit of power and you haven't had it, you can go off on a tangent and you can get diluted and you can be operated against. You can be programmed, manipulated, propagandized. You can act against your own interests without even knowing it. And that's how clever our government is, our CIA. And we've got to understand what Edward Snowden did tell us. And who knows, he might have been a CIA guy, just meant to let us in on the fact because it was just it was too much to get away with spying on every person on their phones and their smartphones, their internets, collecting everything on every single person, and it being okay under the Patriot Act. Our good President Joe Biden is so proud of. All these things, if we really looked at it in the light of day, we'd probably just get sick and we wouldn't have any desire to do anything to make any change because it would seem truly hopeless. But maybe when it gets hopeless, it truly does get hopeless. We don't have false hope. And the other day, when the Bernie meme went out, I couldn't help it. I got excited. Of all people to not ever get swallowed by Bernie and the mystique and the myth around him, it would be me, because he's actually directly affected me by looking on while I was getting arrested at his rally just for holding a green scarf and, silently supporting Jill Stein in the back of the room as a Green, after having run for him as a Bernie candidate and opening offices and doing the county thing in Southern Maine on his behalf and doing everything I could and making an impact for him, to just have him arrest me. And that is kind of the best thing that could have happened to me, along with the recent thing, which was when Facebook restricted me and looked like they were going to take me off. The best thing that can happen to me is when I get disenchanted and I don't believe that what I was saying at the beginning of this video, that sometimes the little guy can succeed. Well, maybe so. It's a nice thought. But we don't really have any institutional power. We don't have any power that couldn't be turned on a dime or changed on a whim or just the next news cycle and we find something out that discourages us and makes us feel that was just a ploy, and we get further disenchanted. And so what I say is today, February 2nd, this is, by the way, the month that you're most susceptible to flus and viruses and that sort of thing. So be taking your D3. Okay, that's the mom in me. But back to it, along with being disenchanted, just take damn good care of yourself, because this is not anything easy. And there are people who seem very reliable and can give bad advice, including me. So just what Buddha said, Buddha. Trust nothing, not even me, meaning Buddha, if it interferes with your good sense of judgment, your common sense and your good judgment. Trust yourself, and if it just doesn't seem to wash or seem sensible, allow people to know that you have those doubts, that you're not 100% convinced about something, and then build a trustworthy reputation for not speaking out of your league of what you know and what you understand. All I can tell you is, the more I know, the more I don't know. That's all I can really say, but that doesn't mean I'm going to be silent about it, because I can't be the only person that's walking around feeling this crazy and desiring change and desperate for it, but willing not to just follow false leadership or just be used and manipulated against the goodwill and the good efforts of people around me to talk people into donating money or their time or their efforts or their hopes and their belief in something that won't fly. That's just another cynical way of using people for their own operations, whatever they are. But they have the playbook. They know what they're doing. They're really good at it. And look at other countries and how we've worked there. How we believe that they're so terrible because they have food shortages or censorship or terrorism. Well, look, take a good look at our country right now. What do you see? Food lines. Censorship is rampant. Terrorism. They're trying to make us domestic terrorists to each other. It's just all impossible. It's impossible that this country has any leg to stand on right now. And we're still trying to find a way to help ourselves up. It's got to be each other, helping ourselves. All right, guys, have a good day.